I'm looking over and I'm like, I forgot to hit the button.
Yeah. Now
All
we are
right.
live.
Now we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the True Life podcast. We're here with Hawk. We're getting into some ideas about the world we live in, healing, problems, love, faith, spirituality. Hawk, take it away, my friend.
Okay. Yeah, we already had half an hour of talking. It's life is beautiful.
Hmm.
You know, that is essence of
Yeah.
my truth about life. Life is beautiful if we allow it to be. But it's so easy to let our chattering monkey minds get in the way, and we are so, oh, I gotta remember, I gotta make more money, I got to get a house, I gotta get a beautiful wife like my neighbor, I gotta get this and that and all of the things that we crave. And,
Right.
and the cravings are just created often. They're just figments or imagination. It's because are they truly essential? Is it necessary? Is it necessary for me to drive a BMW rather than the Toyota I'm driving? It's not. Really. It's what we overcomplicate life, and just to be here right now, like Eckhart Tolle speaks
Yeah.
about, to be in the moment. I'm standing here now in
That's beautiful.
wintry, yeah, with my cute little dog, and I can feel that I am here right now. I can hear the sounds of snow under my feet. I can see my dog looking for there are some deer around here, and she wants to go and play with them in her own way. And I can sense the world, and truly to be in that, and instead of being projected into the future or captured in the past with all the traumas and all the, oh, this happened and this happened and this happened, but to be right here right now, it feels pretty good. It's really, and that's what a lot of people talk about, mindfulness.
Right.
It's easy. What should you be mindful of?
I think all that's to be mindful of is I think if you're healthy and you have your freedom, those are two of the greatest things that you can begin with.
Mm.
But society leans on us. Society puts this web of ideas into our mind. And I think we've been conditioned from a very young age to not be happy with who we are for some reason. I don't thoroughly understand how that works, but it does seem to be a process. What do you think?
Oh yes, I mean we are born with happiness. That is like a birthright.
Yeah.
If you, I maybe I'm a monk now, but I do have 3 kids, so I've been blessed with seeing the process. And when a child comes out and they're curious and they're open to everything, and they're like, oh wow, look at that! There's snow and there's sun and there's, oh yes, and and then and then something happens. Society strikes us, as you say. We get bowed down by demands. You gotta have many likes and followers on Instagram, and you gotta have this and that, and all of those non-essential things. They just come down on us like snow.
Right.
I gotta watch myself, by the way, because there's a lot of snow here. So I don't want to be buried under. but it's we we are turned towards accentuating the negative. It's like, and it seems that so many things in society, for instance, media. Take a look at newspapers. Doom and gloom. That's what they focus on. Doom and gloom all the time. And it's never. It's so rare that you see the media focusing on the beautiful moments, on all the good things that people do. I mean, there are so many people out there who are doing truly good things. If you are open to seeing it, but they are not the ones. We talk about the horrible things happening, Palestine, Gaza, Israel, Ukraine, always accentuating the bad stuff, and not seeing. And I'm not talking about some like toxic positivity.
Right.
People say, "Oh, should always be happy. You should always." Oh, I can't stand it. I mean, I live in the world. I see it's a spectrum. There are as we talked about, there are beautiful people. There are people who are truly lighting up the world, and there are what I call parasites. People are only in it for
Right.
what's in it for me? Greed, greed, greed. I want to get more, and I think it's sad also that those people tend to be lifted up. Oh, look at him! He's managed to
Right.
amass a fortune of 20 billion, whatever. Yeah, so he's got a huge bank account. Is that like the epitome of human accomplishment? And there should be more impressive things you can do with your life than to. It's like, yeah. For instance, let's talk about Elon Musk.
Right.
He's a brilliant guy, no
Without a
doubt
doubt.
about it. And he's done some amazing things, but people seem to think that because he has managed to do what he's done, he has some guru status. He should have some guru status. So when he talks about, for instance, he talked about AI and awakening AI, and we got to listen. Yeah, we got to pause the development because Elon Musk said so. I think Elon Musk has watched too many Terminator movies because he's so in the darkness of AI. I mean, AI can be a force, a positive force that can help us a lot.
Do you
But
think that
yeah,
do you think that that's like it seems that humankind, like we look for the strong person on some level. There's so many people that look for a leader that want to tell them what to do. And
yeah,
maybe that's the default mode network of people or something, or a lot of people are scared or something. But yeah, just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're good at everything. But people want to be told what to do on some level, it seems like to me. I don't know, is that true? What do you think?
yeah. I think so. I used to live in a cult when the last year when I lived
Whoa.
in Sweden. I lived in a cult that was considered one of the five most dangerous ones in Sweden, and that was quite interesting.
Well, let's
They
hear
had a
about it.
leader. Yeah, they had a leader, old guy, 85 or something. He came from Norway, Holstein, and he was like he couldn't do anything wrong. If he said something that was incorrect, we're not allowed to say something about it. And I'm like, I don't like it. I am so opposed to anybody telling me my truth.
Right.
So we did have some talks, and we were it was like very much 1984. We were not allowed, or not, they were not, I should say, allowed to use the word I and absolute and lots of words that were not. They they talked about this one instead of I, for instance.
Mm.
and I used I all the time, and not very popular always. And I was quite in opposition. But uh, after I, what I saw was the whole system was built to create wealth and
Mm.
security for the leader. It was supposed to be called a teacher. Um, he's in the cult. He's close to Jesus,
Mm.
um, and I disagreed. And I saw that the way they were treating people, that was not okay. They were truly abusing people, among others, an old elderly gentleman who lived there for 40 years. And he had a lot of somatic problems and also psychiatric problems, and he had to work. So I tried telling them, you got to change your ways. You can't mistreat people like this. Not at least not when I'm around. And they didn't listen. And I tried telling them several times, still didn't listen. So then I decided, okay, I got to do something about it. So first, I got in touch with social services and the police and his doctor. I told him what was happening, and then I contacted a newspaper called Göteborgs-Posten, pretty huge newspaper, and they left when I left the cult. I had two new journalists who was documenting, and I had met them before. So it was a 4-article series in Göteborgs-Posten about the cult. And those closed societies, what they hate more than anything, that is
Yeah.
being put in the spotlight. So it's I'm not a fan. I'm not very fond of gurus. And then you have our shaman Durek, who's about to be married to our princess Martha Louisa. He talks about be your own damn guru. It's
Yeah.
you got to find what's in you. That is what matters. I can tell you, George, you need this and that because you know it, but you just got to remember it. And
Only
that is,
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
Only you can solve your problems. You can look to
Yeah.
other people as a light. You can look at someone who may have been on a similar path and you can take advice. But you and you alone get to control the meaning of your life. And that
Mm.
allows you to solve the problem. And that's both the beauty and tragedy of life, is that it weighs on you. Can
Yeah.
you do it? You can. If you believe you can, or whether you believe you can't, either way, you're right.
Exactly, and it's just the same as with healing.
Hmm.
It's I've been told that I have warm hands, and I've been a healer since birth, is what I've heard. But still, I can be an inspiration.
Hmm.
I can help inspire your body to remember its amazing ability to heal itself.
Yeah.
When you have a system to fight cancer cells, you have a fit system to fight. If you just get a wound, it'll be fixed. You don't have to think about it. But it seems that once we reach a certain level of complexity, or for instance, cancer, then you got to find something external to fix it. But the power is in you, and of course you also get help from or from science. I mean, I'm not telling people to stop using the treatments. I do believe that the intersection between modern science and the ancient healing arts, that is the most powerful we can have.
Yeah.
We need both. It's not this choose one, and it's the people. I do believe people crave somebody who can tell them, and why do we need somebody to tell us how to live our lives? I guess it's something about then you also have to take responsibility. for your circumstances. It's all up to you. If you're miserable, if you don't adhere to some guru or something, it's on you. And of course, it does also have things to do with your environment. I mean,
Sure.
I worked more than 20 years in social work with some of the most hurt people that exist in Norway. And I'm not saying that we aren't, you know, I don't believe that kids ask to be abused by the
Right.
parents, for instance. It's not something like that. We are also put in difficult circumstances, and then we may need, well, belief in something higher, whether it's Mother Gaia or God or Allah or Krishna or Yahweh or Ganesha. I think it's good sometimes to sort of surrender to there is something higher,
Yeah.
but you got to find it yourself. Once you are, somebody pushes you to, like, if you're born into some congregation or something and you're pushed, then it's, I don't think that's good. I think it's
Yeah.
beneficial. You got to be inspired yourself.
Yeah. It's in all the myth. Like, I'm a big fan of mythology, and when I read like the Iliad or the Odyssey or even Star Wars, you can see this
Yeah.
idea of, in life you get to this point where you can't go any further, and you meet a threshold guardian, or you find your way on the path. But that's part of it. Part of life is getting to a point where you fail miserably. And now what are you going to do? Right?
Yeah.
I hope it happens to everybody. And I hope everybody has the courage to get in the face of that thing that you despise and say, never again. I'm not doing this anymore. Damn the consequences. I'm going to make this thing happen. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to do it. Because I think that's where the power lies. That's where your connection to spirituality really begins to be connected, is this belief in yourself and faith in something bigger than you. What do you think?
Oh, I fully agree.
I love it.
What can I say? And it was a guy called Dabrowski. It was a Polish psychologist and psychiatrist. He talked about having to go through different psychiatric, or not psychiatric, but crisis
Right.
in order to rise up in spiritual way. And I think that's so true. I mean, some of the strongest people I met are those who have faced most problems and managed to just, I'm going to claw my way up. I'm not going to be here. But sometimes they need inspiration.
Yeah. All of
And
us.
I've been, yeah, we truly do. And I've been blessed with, 22 years of social work. Sometimes I had the blessing of being able to stand by somebody's side and saying, it's okay to be not okay, but you will get there sometime soon. You just need to see the small changes. Just see that, okay, you're here now, you're at the bottom. And how much does it take to just get this much above the bottom? And often it's, we talk about being trauma sensitive, and there's a lot of focus on trauma. I think it's just as much about being focus on the light. Like,
Yeah.
when I work with people, I say, okay, your father did this, your mother did this, you weren't seen. Okay, have you ever been in love? They're like, yeah. Okay, well, how did it feel the first time you saw that person? And you see this light shines up. And
That's beautiful.
okay, yeah, good. And if they have kids, like, okay, tell me about the first time you saw your child. And then, wow, yeah. And this is the potential within you, is something I often say. This is also within you. You have all the traumas, and you can think of them like this big black blob, but you also have the light. You have the potential to feel good. You have been there before. You have, and you can go there again, and you can choose more of it. But it's a choice.
Yeah.
You have to choose your path. You can't just keep on just stumbling blindly along, going to in the same direction. For instance, if you're using drugs, you can't continue shooting up heroin and expecting to have a fulfilling life, because that will destroy your life. Same as with antipsychotics
Yeah.
and all the other mind-numbing zombie drugs. That won't create a good life. You have to create a good life. And that's a responsibility. And that's, I think, to get back to your question, that is why people need a guru. They feel that they need some authority that they can place their faith in, that they can give responsibility. But the responsibility in my book resides here.
Yeah. I heard it put one time, something along the lines of, in life, if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. And if you
Mm,
take that time to like, a lot of people don't like confrontation. It's uncomfortable. You can get hurt. But the truth is, life is confrontation. And if you can understand that it's not easy and that it is confrontation, and on some level, you can learn to embrace that confrontation.
mm,
And there's consequences, and it's hard. You lose people you love, you can
mm,
lose the things you have, but
mm,
ultimately I think you're building your character, you're building you. So maybe those things that fall away weren't meant to last if they fall away in confrontation. But that's hard
exactly.
for people to understand. It's very difficult to get to that point. People don't want to lose the things they have. They don't want to lose the one they love. And maybe it's just it's a mind shift. Maybe some people are born that way, or they got to learn. I don't know, man. What do you think?
Well, to use an example, when I first met Nasir,
Nice.
when I first met her, she's an adoptee. She's been in two families. She's been severely traumatized, as far as I can see. And she's like a huge Malinois, strong, like she can lift me. I mean, she's 34 kilos and she could lift me. And but when we first met, I was sitting at the adoption center and in the kitchen, and she came running in, and she did a little circling and checked the perimeter, and then she came over to me, and I put my hand on her neck, and I heard, and I knew this is the defining moment. Because when with the Malinois, they are like the toughest dogs ever, and she could kill me easily. And she's also trained for protection and stuff. So I had to just confront her. Took her, put her down on the floor, and held her. And she tried to bite me, and she tried to bite me. And then she relaxed. And then we went for a walk for an hour. And since then we've been together. And we still fight. We still have the fights, but we needed to go through that confrontation, because I had to show her I wasn't fearful of her. I was, unlike most of the other people she had met, I didn't have any fear of her hurting me, none at all. And I had to prove that to her, because she's used to using her strength and big teeth to control the environment,
Mm-hmm.
and but she can't control me. And yeah, I don't think it's fear is truly the mind killer, and that's what we're
Yes.
seeing in the world today.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's something that paralyzes people, and it shuts down higher cognitive function. It puts you into this
mm,
idea of fight or flight. And when you're in this moment of fear, you're easily controllable. You're scared. You know,
yep,
it's conditioned into us. Pavlov, look at Pavlov, right? The same way he used bells and whistles.
yeah, and just to see it in the human population. Take a look at the media.
Well said.
See, that's Pavlov's dogs. It's well, we allow it. Many people allow it. We are being led. We are being bamboozled. We are truly being manipulated. And those who manipulate, they are good at the job.
Of course.
It's yeah, they're very good. They're great spin doctors. But I find it sad that people go into this collective fight or flight mode, and I mean, I'd rather be a shepherd than a sheep. Very much so. And I don't get why so many people seem to choose to be sheep.
I think they listen to the message. You know, I think that it happens at an early age, at least in the West. You know, we
Mm,
were given the Prussian model of school, where you sit in front of an authoritarian figure, and you're
mm,
taught to respect authority. Don't ask questions. Raise your hand. Ask for permission. And you do that to somebody for 10, 12, 15. Some kids go to college for 25 years, and they haven't even been out in the world.
yeah.
You know, and you what do you know? You don't know anything. You've essentially been pushed into this dark room and fed enough to keep you happy, and yeah, I think it's fear. I
Mm,
really think, you know, I can't, I guess I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak to me when I broke. You know, I was
mm,
a UPS driver for 26 years, and I loved it. I
mm,
loved being out there and talking to people, but something happened at a point where I realized I didn't like the way I was being treated. I didn't like the way everyone around me was being treated. And I
mm,
thought to myself, Hawk, how come no one's standing up?
mm.
And immediately I said, how come I'm not standing up?
Okay.
You know, how come I'm not standing up? You
Yeah.
know what? And then I think of Gandhi. Like, if you want, be the change you want to see in the world. And as soon
Mm,
as you do that, as soon as you become this, I think the world is talking to us. Like, and if you see this problem of fear, the world's telling you to stand up. If you
mm,
see whatever you see in the world's telling you this is a problem. I need your help on it. Go fix it. And when you start
mm,
doing that, the world begins to unfold in front of you in ways you can't imagine. For me, it was seeing all these people that were afraid, and I'm like, someone's got to stick up. Someone's got to do it. I'll do it. And with that
mm,
comes consequences. With that comes losing your job. With that comes losing your finances. But it's not so much losing something as it is gaining something for yourself. Yeah, you're
mm,
losing that old version of yourself, and now you're becoming a person that other people can rely on. You know,
mm.
so I don't know. Does that answer the question at all as to what's happening or why people might be afraid or conditioning, I
Uh,
guess?
I think that's beautiful to put, George. It's to me, to make a parallel. I became a monk 4 years ago,
Okay.
and I love women, but I still I'm a celibate monk, and that was a huge change. Uh,
Mhm.
and it does create some tension at times, but yeah. But still, it what it does allow me is to meet people not as sexual beings,
Right.
not as gender and tits or whatever. It allows me to meet people, and that is really, that is a blessing. It's but it feels strange at times, because we live in an overly sexualized world.
Yes. Yes.
Every,
Absolutely.
everything is about sex, it seems, and
Yep.
it's but to me, it's it seems that we've sort of forgotten. We've gone into this weird thing where sex is it's just like with money. Money has become the target, the object itself.
Yeah.
You have to get money, but money is, I mean, it's just paper, blips in a computer. That's what money allows us to do. That is
Right.
what's important. And to me, it's just the same with sexuality. The connection between man, women, or whomever you're chosen, what path you are on. That is beautiful. But to make sexuality itself something like, oh, we got to have it in all the commercials and everything, it's all over everywhere. That I don't get.
Yeah.
It's really, it's yeah, but I kind of look forward to once in somewhere time in the future to meet someone and to be together. But then having had this pause from something so primal, I think that allows me to go into a relationship with a different mindset. Do you believe that?
Yeah. I think sexual energy is creative energy. And
Yeah.
that might speak to why there is such a lack of true imagination in the world. Everybody's too busy jacking off or like
Got to beat Jan in. Yeah, that's very true. It's I see. I've gone through some Kundalini awakenings in my life, and that is like then you truly feel the amazing power of energy, life energy. It's when it burns through you and clears out all your chakras. You are like, wow, you're flowing with it.
Yeah.
It is amazing. I've also, as part of my own process, I've done some ayahuasca and some
Nice.
other. Yeah, that was amazing. That
Yeah.
was
Tell us about the experience. If you don't mind.
yeah, it was incredible. It was to see energies like I remember I was sitting. This was I gotta add that I don't recommend anybody to do ayahuasca because it is the toughest therapy you can ever imagine. It's like being kicked in the balls and the stomach and the face at the same time. So it's not something to play around with. I did it in a sacred circle with people from the Amazon who are truly, they were born into working like that. So they're shamans and healers. But we were sitting in a circle, and I closed my eyes, and I saw there was one person sitting there who didn't have a light coming out of their crown chakra, but all the others had a light, and it just came together, and it whooshed up straight up. It was so amazing. And this light, it was like brilliant white, bit yellowish. It was so beautiful. And it was truly. I sat and opened my eyes and closed my eyes, and I saw that everybody except this one person had this amazing light, and that gave me thoughts, to the collective unconscious and the Akashic records and all of that of us being a part of the web of life.
Yeah.
It was great, but it's been tough. It's as I said, but it's given me so many insights. I've been given some tasks that I'm not going to talk about in the circles. They are related to me, my path as a warrior, and I cried so many tears. It's but also it's I I used to have another dog than Nessie, and he was one of the few dogs that were allowed to come into the circle. And that was fascinating. And usually when you do ayahuasca, you purge,
Mhm.
you vomit, and I've never done it. But the one time when he was sitting beside me, he started so I had to take him outside because he needed to purge. So he sort of did it for me. It was incredible. He was yeah, and it's. I think that people, what ayahuasca does is it does shift us, our perspective. It shifts us into a different mode and a different frequency,
Mm.
and that's necessary because it opens up the possibility that this life is more than what we can see,
Yeah.
and it truly is.
Maybe that's what gives people the courage to live their own life, is to understand that this life is more than you can see. Because a lot of the
Mm,
times, courage comes from faith, and faith can come from spirituality. And at times, especially now, it seems like there's a lack of faith or spirituality, at least in the West. And when you're talking about ayahuasca, you're talking about rituals, you're talking about ceremonies, you're talking about rites of passage, and some of those seem to be absent in the Western world.
yeah, we are losing faith. We're projecting it into faith in our soccer teams or
Totally.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's like there you can find your group, but it's I don't know. It's if I think we do need. I like one of the reasons I'm pretty tough. You know, if something that's part of having worked the way I have for so many years, I'm pretty confident in my own abilities, and if I'm in a confrontation, for instance, then I know I can manage it. But what gives me most courage is that I'm not afraid to die.
Mm.
I know that there's more than this life. I'm fully aware of it. So I mean, and how can you fight someone who isn't afraid to die? It's, that's kind of a challenge.
Yeah.
And, I know that a lot of people are afraid to die because of the uncertainty, and of course that as you say, as losing faith, then you also lose the certainty of or the possibility there might be something more, and that creates fear. It's probably easier when everybody believed everybody was either Christian or Muslim or Jain or Hindu or whatever. Then you had the faith, but now we don't. It's but I also think it's good because it allows people to find their own way.
Mm.
If you're led by a preacher or somebody and they tell you something, you got to do this, you got to do that. I don't think that's a good way to live life either. I think we should find our own path.
Yeah, I'm reminded of the Grail quest by King Arthur in mythology, and
Mm,
there was a certain quest where they were sitting down in this magnificent dinner, and the Grail appeared before them, and they said, "Let's go have it. Let's go. This is a sign. We should go look for the Grail." And so they
mm,
all go into the forest, but each knight enters the forest at the darkest place for them, where there's no
mm.
pathway cut, right? And in some ways, that's finding your own faith. It's going into the darkest part and conquering it, and understanding that it's you.
Yeah,
You are there. There's people that love you, and there's people that'll help you, but you and you alone have the ability to give your life meaning, and that's faith.
yeah, and exactly. You got to find your own meaning.
Mm.
I can't tell you, and I'm not saying that you can't be inspired. I mean, I started reading the Bible when I was 4, and I read a lot of the Holy Scriptures and books, and a lot of, and I've been very much inspired by Neil Donald Walsh, for instance, whom I had. I'm in this group he has where we have weekly Zoom calls. You know, there are so many people you can be inspired by. But once, if they start telling you this is how you should live your life, then it's important, I think, to take a step back and say, okay, I think that is how you should live your life. But I am allowed to choose differently.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I gotta get ready to. I'm gonna go to I'm a member of the spiritualist church in Norway. I'm gonna drive to Oslo to do some healing.
Fantastic. Well, Hawk,
Yeah.
I thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and I love learning and listening and getting to hang out with really interesting people for some time. And I'm thankful for your time. So
yeah,
but
I gotta add one thing.
Yeah,
one
please.
thing that has been my best support. You know, I'm a musician. That's why I use it's my artist name, I'm Ancient. To music, that has been my savior. You know, in so many ways. I started learning music when I was 5, I think. Then that got a question there. Let's see.
Yeah. He says,
yeah.
Can you ask Hawk to speak on the power of ancestral archetypes?
Yeah.
I don't know if you got time for that.
I have in the that was what I didn't really want to talk about it, but I can anyway. When I was in the ayahuasca ceremony, then I met some of the archetypes. No, I met the Amazon warrior. I met the mother. I met the crone. I met the father. I met a lot of those. And it was so strong, and it was really, I know there were people who were they looked like their archetypes, but then they changed into it fully, and it was so amazing. We did this dance, we were dancing, and to I think it's so important for everybody to see who am I. I mean, Jung's archetypes, they are amazing tools for self-discovery.
Yeah.
Truly, they speak so loudly, and also, but also to see that we can change. You can be a warrior, for instance. But then you can shift your alignment and go into, okay, no, I want to be more of a mother. No, I want to bring out my nurturing side. Like it's just like when I talk with a dog, I talk in a different way than when I talk with a daughter. You know, and to truly use that tool to shift. And it's yeah, I love Jung. I have some really like Carl Gustav Jung, Wilhelm Reich. It's amazing, and there are so many people you can learn from, and also I'm a holistic healer, in certified in Norway, and what we do is we channel our helpers. We do our best to become an open vessel, for and those are who we channel. They are often archetypes. I have my mother, who passed some years ago, but I also have others who are like behind me and helping me.
Yeah.
And when you, because there's something so pure about archetypes, it's so clean cut, you know? And that is something I think we all can learn from. How can you develop whatever you want to be? Do you want to be a warrior? Do you want to be a mother? Do you want to be a lover? Do you want to be a fool? You know, understand? You all have all this potentiality. What do you want to be? What do you want to be today?
Yeah.
Today I will be the healer. That's my choice.
That's awesome.
Okay.
It's awesome. I think
hope
it
that
does.
answered your question, Magic Michael.
Where can people find you? Like, I know I put some links down below in the show notes, but
Yeah.
is
Well,
there a specific spot you want people to go to?
well, LinkedIn is my main. I am all over.
Nice.
Yes. I'm all over. If you search for M Ancient or my full name, but you can go to mancient.com or mancient.one. Those are like two of my sites. And then you find contact information for. I do have a huge network on various services. So, but find me on mostly Spotify, Apple Music. I'm Ancient.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate your time today. I'll send you copies of all this, and
Okay.
I'll hang up with the people here. I'll let you get to doing what you do best. I appreciate your time. Hope you have a beautiful day.
You too.
Okay.
Hi, brother.
Okay.
Aloha.
Aloha.